Okay, so today I decided to do hopefully a quick video showing you my Stanley Kubrick movie collection. I really like movies. Stanley Kubrick is probably my favorite director, although I will admit some of his movies are a little on the slower side for my taste. But I do like him, and I do find him very fascinating, and his movies are very well put together, and they have a lot of history behind them. I really like that. So I just decided to take a few minutes to show you my collection and see what you guys think and maybe read some of your comments. So I'm going to do these in chronological order, the way I have them. The first movie is Lolita. This movie came out in the early 60s. Not one of my favorite movies of his. I've only seen it once, but I ended up deciding to buy it just because I wanted to add it to my collection. And here's the back. Show you some screenshots and a little synopsis. Next movie is very famous 2001 A Space Odyssey. The first time I watched this movie, I didn't really much care for it. I thought it was very confusing and weird, to say the least, but I came around on it. I really wanted to understand why so many people liked it, so this is the movie that got me into Kubrick in the first place. It kind of led me down a rabbit hole, and I never really got out. So there's some pictures from the movie, and a little quote from a review, I imagine. Next movie, very controversial, A Clockwork Orange. Definitely, I would bet this is his strangest movie. Most people find it very controversial. I know it was banned in England for a while, but nonetheless, still a very profound movie. You see a reference a lot, especially in The Simpsons. But yeah, a lot of people like it. Definitely not one for the family. However, next up we have Barry Lyndon. Didn't care much. I was kind of let down the first time I watched this, but I've probably seen this movie, like of just Kubrick's movies, I've probably seen this one the most. I may have seen this upcoming one more, however. But anyway, doesn't matter. First time I saw this movie, I was kind of let down, but by the third or fourth time I watched it, I did end up liking it. So I do like this movie, I can say that. Here's the back. Kind of looks like Lolita a little bit, and just the way they've organized this. If anyone knows the significance of the rose at the bottom, please let me know, because to the best of my knowledge, there wasn't a rose in the movie. So, would appreciate an answer to that. This movie, The Shining, I try to make a point to watch this movie every Halloween just for the sake of having a tradition to do something on Halloween. But this is one of his probably more, I don't want to say enjoyable movies, but it's definitely more popular, I think, for general audiences than the previous four I've just been through. But it is a good movie. It's got Jack Nicholson in it. He always gives an entertaining performance. First epic horror film. A horror film to me means it's scary, and I don't really find this movie scary. I think it's more of a thriller. I mean, I'm not going to debate over what the definition of a horror film is, but I didn't really find it scary, just more thrilling is something I would describe it as more appropriately. Next up, one of my favorite movies, Full Metal Jacket. I say it's one of my favorite movies because of just how brutally honest I think it is, and how, I guess hardcore, you could describe it. So there's the front. It was kind of a depressing look at the Vietnam War. It's kind of bifurcated into two parts. I remember the first time I watched it was on television. I didn't really understand the first part and the second part, how those two went together, but I don't know. I would like to see some film analysts go pretty in depth into this movie and try and explain, or at least link those two parts of the movie together. And this last movie is, his last movie, Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. I I debated about whether or not I should watch this movie because I heard a lot about it and how risque it was, and I've only seen it once. I'd kind of like to watch it again just because I know just uh, how much attention to detail Kubrick has and how little things matter so much. Because I really got into film analysis, and I've seen many film analyses over these. How many movies is it? Six movies. So that's tempting me to want to watch this again, but it was kind of it's on the disturbing side, so I'm hesitant to watch it again. But it is a Kubrick. I would recommend, if you're really into this film analysis and Kubrick stuff, then maybe watch it once. I'm not gonna, endorse watching this movie, but a Kubrick movie nonetheless, and that's how I feel about it. So anyway, there they are, all 7 of them. Well, you're probably wondering where Dr. Strangelove is, because it fits between 2001 and Lolita. It's not a Warner Brothers movie, so Warner Brothers didn't have this together. They didn't, I think Columbia Pictures owns it. So, and I saw it on Amazon. I'll only buy it if it's relatively cheap. These movies weren't super expensive. They were a price I was willing to pay. So if Doctor Strangelove ever comes out on Blu-ray for a price I'm willing to give, then I might consider buying it. One movie that I do have of Kubrick's that's not here is Paths of Glory. I bought it on iTunes and it's a soft copy. And I decided to buy it because I think Paths of Glory, it's one of my favorite movies. It's really up there. I don't know if I wouldn't call it my favorite movie, but I found it a very moving and powerful film. And that's really saying something considering it came out, 1957 or something like that. So I would highly recommend watching Paths of Glory. It's a really good movie. And if you're into film analysis and, really, how do I put this? Movies that go into great detail and directors that love their craft and they work really hard to put all little tiny things in there that make a world of difference, then I would recommend Stanley Kubrick and watching his films. And a good film analysis or an entertaining, I would recommend watching, at least just for purely entertainment reasons, if you don't agree with him, some of Rob Eger's film analyses, or at collativeLearning.com. He didn't tell me to plug him or anything. It's just I enjoy watching his film analyses, so I decided to give him a little free plug there. So I would just check him out, see some of his film analyses and what you think of them. Other than that, those are my Kubrick movies. Let me know what your favorite Kubrick movie is. If there's any great director out there that puts a lot of effort into his craft that I don't know about. I know a lot of directors, but if there's any out there that you really like, please let me know so I can check them out, see if I'm into some of their movies. And other than that, thanks for watching.